Tuesday at San Francisco 49ers camp, one clear winner of the day, and it looks like the 49ers might have hit on some more players in their rookie class in 2024. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you as always at BD Peacock at Crocky209. Very special guest joining us on this Winky Wednesday episode, going live on YouTube though Tuesday night because we can't contain ourselves with what we saw on the field at 49ers training camp. More on our special guest momentarily. I do want to tell everybody that today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code Locked On NFL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. And it's a road game today. I don't have my sounder ready to go, but you know the score if you're an everydayer here at Locked On 49ers, and we love our everydayers, and we hope you're all subscribed up on YouTube and everywhere you listen to this podcast. Nicholas Winkler joining us today at Bay Area Wink on Twitter, and heck of an atmosphere at 49ers camp, right? Always fun, Wink. Thanks for joining us here, and let you go first. What were your thoughts of 49ers training camp here on Tuesday?
It was really cool. It's been actually about a decade since I've been to a 49ers training camp, and I don't know why I don't go. It's so much fun. If you're a fan out there, you've never been, go. It's worth it. Big shout out to Jess, my buddy, who hooked us up with some tickets, so we were all able to get out there and just had a great time. Just so good to be out there with like-minded individuals, right? I mean, Croc did kind of make buddies with a Dallas Cowboy fan who was out there because I think maybe his
he
wife
does that. Croc does that. Like he's got Cowboys fans in his own family, so he knows how to deal with that sort of a that sort of a head case as maybe it might be in some cases like that. Oh, and shout out to our guy Barnaby and some other folks that are listeners of the show that saw us and recognized us and said hi, and always love hearing from our listeners, and we really appreciate it. So don't be shy if you ever see us out there at camp or wherever it is. Let us know that you listen to the show. We love hearing from you. Appreciate it.
Hey, shout out to the Dallas Cowboy fan. He had my back. All the other 49er fans, they just sat there and watched this guy. Like, I'm getting ready to beat this guy up.
Croc got berated by management because he was on his phone, and I don't know. They thought you were filming and going to send secrets to the Seattle Seahawks about what the 49ers are doing in practice.
They said, hey, after once period 6 hits, no videos, no photos. If you are going to be on your phone, make sure the lens is pointed down. Sure. All right.
Easy.
I don't even have any pictures or videos at all from our time today. Well, I'm just sitting there, a little tweet. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, hey, this is the second time we told you get off your phone. You better get off. Bro, check your mans. Don't be talking to me. Talk to this guy that told us in school. Get out my face, dude. I'm the manager. I don't care if you're the manager. I don't care if you're the manager. Go talk to somebody else.
Like 10 times, but I'm the manager. I'm the manager. It's like, whoa, manager, relax.
Aside from that hiccup,
you almost made me break character in front of all the 49ers fans.
Aside from that hiccup, some overzealous security folks. It was a heck of a day. And yeah, Croc wasn't breaking any rules that were laid out when we started either, which was funny.
No, the guy actually laid the rules out about 4 or 5 times. You can have your phones out. Like he told them 100% what he could do. He was doing it. This guy was probably just having a bad day.
Yeah, management came by and up the ante a little bit there. But we had a great time and so many takeaways on the field. Big winner of the day for me. Croc, I'm going to let you go first because I have a feeling it's the same big winner of the day for you. Who won the day at 49ers camp? Who impressed you the most out there?
Oh, man. So there are other people that probably impressed. I'd say Dominick Puni. I think he had a strong day, whether it was one-on-ones. He had a nice pick six, had another near pick. Looked like the 49ers tried to do that like tight end wide leak play, and he was able to read it, throw it to the backside, and he jumped it, nearly intercepted that one, just dropped it. But I was locked in on Dominick Puni, and I wanted to see what did it look like. And the toughest thing for us, I don't have anything to go off of, right? Like, it's not like I got a chance to watch, Aaron Banks or, Spencer Burford, and I don't even know if Feliciano was out there, but the 3 guys that play guard that will maybe be ahead of him, I wasn't able to see those guys and see what it looked like, but I was thoroughly impressed by him. It just looked like someone that consistently did his job. He was massive out there. That was something that Peacock pointed out when he was warming up. Like, man, Dominick Puni, he's a big guy.
He's huge. He's massive. Like, you never know what a guy's going to look like because you see the height, weight, and what it's listed as, and he looks bigger than whatever his height and weight was. And I remember, he had solid measurables, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is a mountain of a man. He looked huge out there. He looked bigger than his measurables. And I think on the flip side of that, Ricky Pearsall kind of, to me, looks a little smaller than his 6'1", 190. I don't know what 6'1", 190 I expect from it, but he's kind of a narrow-hipped guy. Dominick Puni, not narrow anywhere.
Not narrow, and he did a really good job. Once he got his hands on guys, he was moving them. There was a big run that was sprung out, and that was when I really started paying attention. Probably like I think on that play, I'm like, man, let me lock in on Dominick Puni, and it was a big run. I said, man, you should have seen Puni, man. He came off the ball, he walled off the guy, created a massive hole. Christian McCaffrey ran straight through there untouched, and I looked at Peacock, and Peacock was like, man, I saw the big hole. Then at the end of it, I was able to see Dominick Puni, but he didn't watch the play develop. From that point on, I was watching Dominick Puni like every single rep, and he consistently moved guys where he needed them to go. I thought he did a terrific job reaching the second level. There was one time where it was a little difficult. He was trying to, it was kind of like a reach block with Fred Warner sprinting across the formation. He wasn't able to get to him there, and I'm like, well, Fred Warner is kind of the best linebacker in the NFL, but later on, he did a great job multiple times of getting to the second level. One of the blocks was on Fred Warner. Another one was reach blocking Fred Warner, trying to get to a stretch to the right. He was able to wall him off there, and he consistently did that. I mean, this is a guy that I thought worked well in space. It didn't look like a guy that was maybe like a little clumsy or a little too heavy. Just things that I felt like I hope he put as much confidence into the coaches as he put in me with his ability. And I can't wait to see him playing at the same time as other guys so I get more of a gauge on exactly where he's at.
Yeah, and you mentioned he's playing with the ones, and that's what's impressive to me because you could always have the excuse of, he was playing against backups, but he was playing against the 49ers starting defensive line. He was playing against, to be honest with you, I hope it doesn't say anything about Malik Collins because that's who he was going up against most of the time. 49ers' new addition on the interior of the defensive line, replacing a guy who's hard to replace in Eric Armstead. I hope it's not like, oh no, we just found out that Malik Collins actually doesn't ever beat anybody, and whoever's out there looks the same. But we saw him against Hargrave. I love what I saw from Puni getting out on the second level, as you mentioned. I didn't see a bad rep from him. It was a pretty unbelievable start for a rookie, and impressive doing it against the 49ers top defensive line. He was able to get out on the move and hit guys on the second level. He looked good in the run game. He looked good in pass protection. Looked good from just the eye test and seeing a big old guy out there who's a good athlete too. And he was an older prospect, and that was one of the things we talked about. Okay, he's a 24-year-old rookie. You don't need to hold him back if he's ready to play. And it looks to me like he's ready to play. Question for me is, does Kyle Shanahan allow a rookie to come in and win a starting job? Does he give this job back when those guys are healthy?
Real quick, I talked about the things he did in the run game, and I'm pretty sure those things will probably excite Kyle Shanahan. But in the passing game, you mentioned it. Pass protection, I think he was equally as impressive. I watched him multiple times handle stunts like a vet. I mean, just boop, okay, let me squeeze on this guy. Okay, this guy comes out. Let me, bump out real quick. He didn't look like he was slow to get there. There were just things where, man, I wish I was going to practice tomorrow so I could see, okay, well, he did it. He did it on Tuesday, July 30th. Can he do it July 31st? And then can he do it August? Can he continue to do it at that level? And if so, then, I saw someone in the chat talk about how the 49ers haven't invested in the offensive line. I think he might be a good investment if he can be consistent doing what we saw him do today.
Yeah, you mentioned the run game. And for me, you talk about you both love the day that Puni had. For me, I'm a running back guy. You know that. Peacock, you're not a running back guy, so I got to pick up the slack that's left behind on that. So obviously Christian McCaffrey, he's Christian McCaffrey. He looks fantastic. He always does. Elijah Mitchell looked good. But it was Jordan Mason. I mean, every time he touched the football today, it was electric. He was running hard. He was fast. He was elusive. He just looked like he wanted it to be opening day. Like he was taking it so seriously every single snap. He looked faster. He looked stronger. He looked quicker than everybody else out there on the football field. So for me, the big player of the day, the guy that you could just see him from a mile away. You're like, oh, there's 2-4. All right, there he is. You knew who he was because he ran a certain way, and it just looked good. I was really excited about what I saw by Jordan Mason today.
Absolutely. I'll second that one. Jordan Mason looked quick. He's always looked like a good runner, a strong runner. He runs angry, breaking off routes in one-on-ones too against linebackers looked great for him. So yeah.
There were a few times I was looking at the receivers. Peacock was looking at the running backs during linebackers during one-on-ones. And you're like, oh, Jordan Mason, man, that was really good. Jordan Mason. Like you said that about 3 different times, during one-on-one. So not only was he impressive on the ground, as Nick Winkler stated, he also was impressive with his route running during one-on-ones, being able to beat linebackers.
Yeah, and I wanted to see the biggins in the one-on-ones with the defensive line and the offensive line a little bit more. And so most of the stuff we're talking about with Puni, we saw in the teamwork, because the one-on-ones with the D-line and the O-line were way on the other side of the field. And so we were watching the skill guys that were right in front of us with those one-on-one reps. Okay, more from one-on-ones and teams. What stood out to us at 49ers camp? And Brock Purdy continues throwing interceptions, but he started out hot. A lot more from 49ers camp Tuesday next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. And prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. Killer last-minute deals, up to 60% off of buying last-minute tickets for baseball, football. You want to go see that 49ers game? Maybe you're not sure. You end up getting a last-minute seat there. You can find deals at Gametime. Concerts, comedy shows, theater events, all of it. Find deals up to even an hour after an event starts. You get all-in prices at Gametime, which is my favorite feature, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference with their lowest price guarantee. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets, whether it's baseball, football, or the next show you want to see. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So we got Puni, we got Jordan Mason. I think those were both standout players for me. I mean, you mentioned Christian McCaffrey. He always looks good. He caught that beautiful ball from Brock Purdy early on in the team portion of practices. Like Fred Warner is just always everywhere. I mean, some of those guys, it's not even, I mean, it's worth mentioning, but it's not surprising when you see Christian McCaffrey and Fred Warner doing work, right, and putting in work. So that's why I was excited to see some of the rookie class out there. And was really watching Puni a lot. Was really watching Ricky Pearsall a lot. And now that he's gotten his second practice in and they have pads on it. And I think they were taking a little bit easy with him. He wasn't getting kind of 100% reps, and he was kind of, he was there early and then kind of took a break and then came back in late. And he did get a lot of work, but he didn't get, I don't think 100% of the work that he's going to be getting in camp. And I think he kind of played to his scouting report. I'm interested to hear what you guys think about Ricky Pearsall. I mentioned how he doesn't look that big for 6'1", 190. I don't know what I really expect it to look like, but he looks smaller than like Debo and Ayuk to me.
Hold on. He did look big at a certain point. Yeah, like when he was standing next to Trent Taylor and Ronnie Bell, I was like, no, he looks about 6'2", 6'3", or something.
He looks big. Like, oh, wait, he's standing next to Trent Taylor. Well, Trent Taylor's wearing 19. You're like, man, he looks big next to Debo. And we're like, oh, wait a second. Debo's not wearing 19 anymore. Dude, the number thing's throwing me off. I was looking at, I thought Tanner Mordecai was taking second team reps all day because last year Brandon Allen had number 4. But Brandon Allen's now 17 and Tanner Mordecai is number 4. So I saw number 4 not taking any reps. I was like, man, Brandon Allen's in the doghouse and Tanner Mordecai must be the 17 that's taking all those reps. No, Brandon Allen was 17. He was out there and he was kind of QB2 ahead of Dobbs today. They're kind of going back and forth there. I don't know if there's any, big leads gained for quarterback 2, quarterback 3 in that competition. There was a couple of reps where number 4 did get in there, who I thought was Brandon Allen at the time, and I learned now that is Tanner Mordecai. They're all kind of similar sized guys. So I think we'll have to reserve judgment for the rest of the quarterbacks, maybe until we see some of the preseason games. More on Brock Purdy in a second, though. Kind of skipped over the Pearsall stuff. But Pearsall, as advertised, actually looked great fielding punts. He's got natural hands. He made a really nice catch over the middle of the field going up to get a ball. Got flagged. The Zebras were there today. The refs threw a flag for offensive pass interference on him. And then Wink, we saw him after the period, right? And we're like, oh, he went straight up to the refs when the period was over and was talking to him. I don't know if he was like asking what he can get away with, or if he was like mad about the call. He's like, you took away one of my catches. But I think he's just, he's trying to figure out what he can get away with, because it's different in the NFL than it is in college.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, is he going to get tossed? Like he's really talking to this guy, really intense, and
just kicking dirt on his shoes.
Yeah, I thought it was a smart move on his part, if indeed he was going there to be like, hey, what exactly did I do that I can't do? Because I don't feel like I did anything wrong. Please break it down for me. I want to get better. You hope that's what that conversation was about, right? But before we get too far off Pearsall, like, let's talk about him fielding punts and how good he did look. Because at moments you saw it, right? You saw what the 49ers saw. He looked quick. He looked smooth. He looked like he had great hands. He handled every single punt that was shot out of that Jugs cannon all day. Like, he looked fantastic. He looked like a first-round draft pick. Now, again, there were training wheels. You could see it. He only played maybe a handful of snaps in 11-on-11s the whole day. But when he was in there, he always caught my eye. I was like, oh, okay, there's 14. Let's watch him. What's he going to do? But they stayed away from him pretty much the whole time, except for that one play where he clearly pushed off. But no, I liked it. I liked what I saw from Pearsall. It looked good. Brock Purdy, if we're going to talk about him, let's not just jump to the bad, because early on in practice, he looked fantastic. He made some great throws, a couple of 50-plus yard, just beautiful little lob passes. I think one was to Debo, one was to McCaffrey, like right in front of us. It looked great. You're like, okay, Brock Purdy, he's the man. And then it started to go south towards the end of practice.
He started throwing some balls to the other team. First on Pearsall, Croc, what did you see from him? I know you're a wide receiver expert. You're a guy that used to have to put the straps on those wide receivers. How would you cover Ricky Pearsall? He looks pretty quick off the line.
Yeah, he's a guy that is twitched up. There were some videos of him floating around from Monday's practice, and not the clip of everybody kind of getting on him because he was going up against Samuel Womack. That to me looked like a guy just giving Womack a look, and you'll see that a lot, like at that level where guys say, hey, I want to work on my press. Can you give me a look off the line of scrimmage? And Pearsall was like, yeah, sure. I haven't really done anything today. I'll give you some extra looks. That's what it looked like then. But there were some other clips floating around where you watched him running routes in the end zone, how, twitchy he looked. And I'm like, okay, I can see some of the reasons why Kyle Shanahan probably liked him. And then, we did watch him get open. We saw him get open another time where he did drop the ball. It looked like a double catch where basically he's going up over the middle, kind of, a little exposed. I don't want to say he got alligator arms, but definitely the color flashing from the opposing jersey caught his eye, took his concentration off of the ball. He went to catch it, bobbled it, went to catch it again. I thought he came down with it initially, and then you watch the defender pick it up. So clearly he dropped the ball. You like to see him come down with that. There were some people saying, hey, man, kind of reminds me of Dante Pettis, right? Like just the way he moves, the way he's able to, run routes, get open. But you don't want the other part of Dante Pettis, right? The guy that was a little bit more afraid of contact, the guy that didn't quite want to go over the middle, the guy that kind of shied away from being that dog. He was more of a kitty cat person. Hopefully Pearsall proves us otherwise and says, no, I am a dog, and this was just a hiccup on one play. But you like to see him continue to come down with the second one, just like he did the first one.
More on Brock Purdy, his interceptions that continued for the second straight day in pads, how the defense came back and won the day, but really quick. Speaking of jersey number changes, do you have a Winks Wishnowski out there wearing number 3 now?
It didn't look good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not a fan of punters wearing 3. Maybe back in the day, but you got so used to him before, and now it's like he's wearing 3 out there. He's faking me out all day long. They're running punt coverage, right? They're practicing, and he's not punting. He's just dropping the ball and faking us out. I'm like, oh, here comes. Oh, nothing. Okay, here comes the punt. Nope.
I thought he fumbled the first one. It's like, what is he doing out there? And it's like, no, they're just kind of working on that punt coverage, and he's kind of fake kicking it. But instead of like going through the motions, he actually drops it like he's going to kick it. And like each time, oh, here he comes. He's going to punt one. Nope, he didn't punt it.
Not one punt all day long from him.
Can we ask him why he switches his number? This is a guy that started off as number 6, switched to number 18. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, maybe number 18 has some kind of significance for him. And finally, he's able to get his number. He's like, nah, I want to get number 3 now. Like, wait, what?
Let's just outlaw changing numbers altogether. Unless you change teams, you got to keep the same number. I don't like it. I'm too easily confused, man. You barely figure out what a guy is, what he looks like, and then he's changing numbers on you. And especially for those fans that purchased Wisnowski jerseys. There are probably a lot more that have the Debo Samuel 19 jersey.
Well, they have to buy them, right? Don't. If you switch your number, you have to buy all the jerseys remaining or something like that.
I think they do, but the Debo one seemed like that was too easy for him to switch. I can't imagine that Debo bought all the 19 jerseys out there. There had to be a lot of them.
Maybe they switched that rule.
Unless there's like maybe like you notify them a year early, and so they can sell out the stock, not make more or something like that. I don't know. I'd be interested to know that behind the scenes because I have heard that before, but guys are changing numbers so much now. It feels like that's not the case, and they just don't care. I don't know if they're eating those jerseys now or what. He also has the senior, though, because I don't think he had Samuel Sr. before, did he?
No, I don't think so.
So now he's Samuel Sr. on the back, number 1 for Debo. It looks good on Debo. I don't mind that change, but come on. Let's chill on the jersey number changes. Just when you get used to a guy, you think you know what a guy is, and he switches up numbers on you.
I was thinking Mordecai was looking great at practice today.
Well, it was
not Brandon Allen.
It was mostly just like, wow, they're letting the undrafted rookie go in there after Purdy. What's going on? And then now it's like, okay, that makes sense now. Stop switching jerseys, guys. Outlaw. I'm firm on that. All right, next.
So real quick, we haven't addressed it. So what does that mean about between Allen and Dobbs? Because I mean, watching it the whole time, we're thinking, well, oh, Allen's not getting reps. Mordecai's getting second team. Dobbs is getting third team. But really, it was Allen getting the second team reps, Dobbs getting more the third team reps, and Allen looking better than Dobbs.
I think so. I think Allen looked a little bit better than Dobbs today. I think they've been kind of going back and forth. I think there's been reports that neither has looked amazing throughout camp so far. So I think it's just going to be a battle where they go back and forth. I think that's probably what that's going to be, and we're going to find out at the very end. And who knows? Maybe Tanner Mordecai still has that opportunity to jump up and become QB2. I know there's some people out there that love some Tanner Mordecai. Our guy Larry Kruger's one of those. He's championing Tanner Mordecai, and he's got some ability. So you got a couple of reps in there today. Next, let's talk about the guy who will get most of the reps and all of the first team reps, hopefully for the 49ers this season. That's Brock Purdy. I think maybe 4 more interceptions for him. Some context with those picks and how the defense came back to win the day. Tuesday, next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. I know there's no NFL football this summer, but there is a ton of ways to play at FanDuel and bet on NFL football and, of course, Major League Baseball every day and every single sport, even some that I didn't really even know existed in the Olympics. Yep, you can find all of that at FanDuel. And FanDuel is hooking up all customers this summer with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long at FanDuel. All you got to do is head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. All right, guys. Early on in the team portion of practice, we talked about how the running game looked good, and Jordan Mason and, McCaffrey looked like McCaffrey. Elijah Mitchell looked like Elijah Mitchell. Even the undrafted rookie Cody Schrader. He's not tall, but he looks like he belongs. So he passed the test for me too. Like he's shifty, he's quick. It looks like he has good vision. He was catching the ball out of the backfield. The offense was looking good running the football early. We mentioned the passing game early was looking good too. The pass to McCaffrey, the maybe the prettiest throw and catch I've seen in my life in person, guys. The deep ball from Purdy to Debo Samuel down the left sideline. That reception happened right in front of us. It was the perfect throw. It was so soft. It landed exactly in Debo's breadbasket. The way he corralled it in looked so soft and perfect.
Like a pillow.
It was poetry. I don't know if I've seen anything more beautiful in my life. And then Purdy turns around and starts throwing the ball to the white squad. And Purdy was wearing red today, so that's not a good thing.
He was wearing black. All the quarterbacks were out there.
That's right. Well, he was wearing black. He's supposed to throw it to the guys wearing red. Yeah.
Right. No, you said it. He looked so good. I was even watching him, when they were warming up on the far field, and he looked great. Everything he was throwing was on point. He looked accurate. He looked confident. Started out great on the 11-on-11s, and then all of a sudden, it's like, I don't know if they were trying new things on offense or what, but a lot of these passes just didn't look good. I mean, there was a time where he threw back-to-back picks on consecutive throws, and you really think you're shaking your head like, oh man, what was he doing there? Like it didn't look like he was trying something new. I want to say maybe they were, but it just looked like bad throws. Like I know, Croc, you were really right after the one on the back shoulder to Debo that was underthrown. You looked at me like, oh, that's just a bad throw, and it's like, yeah, he just missed it.
A lot of what I saw, because I think when you see on social media, that's where a lot of the fans get their information from, if they're not getting it from Locked On 49ers. You just hear 4 interceptions from Brock Purdy, and I don't think that paints the full picture. For me, it's not so much about him throwing 4 interceptions today, 7 picks in 2 days. It's not like alarming. I think last year he went through something like that where he was just turning the ball over a ton. For me, it's why is he turning the ball over? Or like, what's the reasoning behind it? And is that something that can potentially get him in trouble moving forward? So, he did throw 4 interceptions today, and we'll talk about some of them. There are also 2 that should have been picked that were just dropped, right? Like Fred Warner, he did not see Fred Warner. It was like he was scanning the field from left to right. And as he got to the right, it was almost like he was expecting someone to be in the spot, which his player was in that spot, and he just let it rip, not seeing Fred Warner, who undercut it, jumped in front of it, and he just dropped it. And then the 49ers also did that little like kind of play action. They tried to sneak that person out of the backside. Like, this is a play that they've done a lot. And Dominick Puni was going with something, and then almost like he said, wait a minute. What are they trying to do? And he peeled back, saw it, jumped in front of it, and just dropped it, right? So those were things where he's maybe not seeing something. Is he being sped up? Is it potentially some of the offensive linemen where he's not quite trusting it, so he's letting things go when he ideally doesn't want, right? Like, that can be a reasoning. But there were also a couple, especially this one where Dominick Puni picked it off, where I felt like I'm seeing a theme here. And a big part of it is I don't think he has the arm strength to be late on throws.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say, oh, you don't need a big arm to play quarterback. Clearly, you don't. He's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks since he stepped on the field and started playing for the San Francisco 49ers, like in all of the NFL. So he has played at a very high level, and he does that more times than not. But if he is going to get in trouble, if we are going to potentially see some of the turnovers pile up a little bit, which, again, we don't foresee happening, it will likely be because he's just kind of a little late on throws. And because he doesn't have like a big powerful arm, I mean, he could throw, some passes with velocity, but if he's moving a little bit and maybe doesn't quite have his feet underneath him or can't put his body into a throw, you can see how it potentially hangs in the air. And that interception that he threw to Dominick Puni, it was Debo ran an out route and the ball hung for so long and it started to die. Dominick Puni had to like work back to the ball to pick it off and take it all the way the other way. That is not ideal, but I don't think it's something that we'll see consistently from Brock, but it does tell me, I think I don't want to call him a system quarterback, but I think he relies on the timing and rhythm of the system to be the efficient quarterback he is, more so than maybe another quarterback might need to that has a little bit more of a power arm.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I just want to say I totally agree on that. And the Debo was open on that play, and you just gotta get it there on time, or have a Josh Allen arm to allow yourself to be late, which Brock doesn't have, and he usually plays in such good timing, it doesn't bite him. But those are just one of the throws where you see it's like that's the difference between Mahomes or Josh Allen and Brock Purdy. It doesn't mean Brock Purdy's not a great quarterback and hasn't been phenomenal, but he can't be late on those types of throws because that's when you get undercut on an out route.
Yeah, with those throws, I think on a few of those, he's moving to his left, stepping backwards, kind of fading away, and he doesn't have the arm strength for that. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, they can make that throw, right? And that's like, he should know better by now. He's played enough in the NFL to know that you can't do that, Brock. That's not your strength. That's not at all what you can do. Stick to what you can do, and it works out really well. Speaking of things that worked out really well, a couple of things else before we get out of here I want to throw out there. Brandon Allen on a great pass to Tariq Owens in the end zone right in front of us. Another great catch from Owens. He had a really good day. Brandon Allen just looked good overall. I think also Moody made all of his field goal kicks that I think were 3 for 3, 4 for 4, something like that. That was really good to see too, because obviously, you look back at last season, he made some clutch kicks. He also missed a couple of clutch kicks too. So you want to see him coming into the season with some great confidence.
One more note on the Purdy picks too. I think there's a couple of balls that wouldn't have been thrown, because he would have been sacked.
Right.
And he threw a jump ball to Juwan Jennings, and on that play, I think he was basically sacked by Fred Warner, and then he's fading away from Fred Warner and kind of tossed it up and actually hit Juwan Jennings in the hands, and he's surrounded by defenders. It bounced off his hands and he didn't pull it in. But I think that's like a throw that he wouldn't make, and that's the throw was like it's practice. He's playing the rep. He's trying to throw the play that they're calling in practice to complete the practice rep and not just be like, oh, I got sacked, I'm not going to throw it.
Right.
So he tossed up. I don't think that's a ball he throws. So there is some context here. It's not like he's just terrible and throwing picks all over the place, but there was some bad ones. And I think the worst was the one he threw to Demetrius Flanagan-Foles that our guy Jordan Elliott from NBC Sports Bay Area that we were talking to after practice was like, that was the Jimmy G pick. And that's the one that Croc, I've been calling the Kyle Shanahan pick, right? The you go linebacker blind for a minute. Jimmy G used to throw a lot of those, but we saw Trey Lance do it. We've seen Brock Purdy do it. We saw CJ Beathard do it, and that was one of those. So those are the ones you hate. You don't want to see the Jimmy G pick happening a lot for Brock Purdy.
In the chat right now, we got Penny64 saying, surely training camp is a time to push the envelope and try different things that challenge your limits while there's no consequence. I would say that would probably be the case for the Juwan Jennings play, right? Rolling to your left. There's pretty much three guys covering him. You throw it up. Let me just give Juwan Jennings an opportunity. Kind of bounces off his hand or something like that, while in tight coverage, and it gets intercepted. I'll give him a pass for that one. The other ones were not pushing the envelope. It's just not seeing the linebacker and being late, throwing back over the middle, being late, throwing late to Deebo Samuel on the out. Like it had nothing to do with pushing the envelope. It was just bad throws, just bad throws or bad timing with the throws.
Somebody wants to say hi. The fourth member at training camp with us today.
There we go.
Little Leo, anything you want to say to the world about 49ers training camp today, Leo?
He's trying to punch me.
He just wants to throw punches at Wink like he was doing all day at practice.
All day long, we're just talking Star Wars and I'm just getting punched in the neck, in the back. All right, buddy. All right.
All right, enough of that. I think that football got him worked up. He was a little bit disappointed because he's been going to a lot of camps this summer, and he thought 49ers training camp meant he was going to go play football with the 49ers. He was disappointed to be like, oh, I'm not playing today. I'm watching adults do camp. I thought this was kids camp. So
I would be bummed too if I was.
He's fired up. We got football season coming up.
Another fun story that I saw on the far field. Brock Purdy was lined up in the pistol, and Juszczyk was next to him, and the snap went to Juice, and Brock Purdy went on a little wheel route, and Juice overthrew him by like 10 yards. And he just was like, I want this to be in the playbook, and I just blew my one chance.
Hey, Peacock, got a question here. Bay Gibson says, how many passes was dropped or hit teammates in the hands?
Not too many.
I didn't really see any drop pass. I mean, one-on-ones. First of all, one-on-ones, I thought for a majority of it, like the DBs kicked the receivers' butts, and they really struggled to separate from the defensive backs. But Deebo Samuel won vertically on one, and beautiful deep ball thrown. I want to say it was Allen maybe throwing that ball.
Yep.
Just bounced off of Deebo Samuel's chest. So, that was one drop. Deebo had another drop in team on a screen. So he's kind of it was one of those tunnel screens. He's running towards the ball. It was kind of a little bit low, maybe at his knee a little bit. Something that we assume he makes that catch 9 times out of 10.
Pearsall had a drop too, right?
Pearsall had the double catch over the middle from one of the, I don't know if it was Dobbs or whatever, but watching the practice, drops was not from the receivers weren't something that came to mind at all. Like, oh man, they're dropping the ball. I thought they played well for the most part. Except for one-on-ones, they got their butts kicked. They needed Brandon Knight to kind of even the playing field a little bit.
We had a Latu sighting today. Also,
That's right. Cam Latu, he jumped out early in practice in one-on-ones, had a nice little route, made a catch. We're like, oh my God, 81. Cam Latu making a play, making a catch. And then the next route, he looked like he was running on the beach. Like he was stuck in sand. It was a little bit weird. So kind of up and down for Cam Latu. You didn't really see him all that much the rest of the day. Seems like Eric Saubert, number 82, was kind of locked in as the backup tight end to George Kittle.
Latu, like you said, nice catch initially, and then he not only did he have the one that looked weird where he like fell down or kind of was running in the sand that you saw. Prior to that, he had just flat out dropped the ball, flat out dropped it. And these are all one-on-ones that we're talking about. Flat out dropped the ball, and then there was another one where he like kind of had to go down to get it and just boom ricocheted off of his chest. I'm like, man, it's just I don't know. You gotta make some plays. It's one-on-ones, man. You're supposed to win these, and he wasn't quite winning them. At least the reps I saw.
That's it for us today. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Subscribe on YouTube or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Wink, always a pleasure. Appreciate the tickets to camp today. That was a lot of fun getting us all out there, getting my son out for his first training camp practice. And it was fun talking to all the fans and everybody out there in Santa Clara as well. Make sure you're subscribed. Croc and I back tomorrow right here. Locked On 49ers.
Subscribe to this video. Do they still see me?
No.